Hey, you all. So, I must apologize sincerely for not being where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. So, today has been long, tedious, and quite honestly, I got caught up in the details and like blanked on life today. And that is all there is to it. Blanked on life today. Um, and quite honestly, that just reminds me that there's some self care that needs to be done that I apparently have not been doing. Um, I was feeling productive too. I was like, oh, I'm getting so much stuff done and blah, blah. And I look up and it's 10:45 and I'm like, it's Monday. Please forgive me. Charge it to my head, not my heart. So, not the regularly scheduled time, but the program continues. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for today and have this conversation, although on a different platform. It will still benefit somebody. And if you're that somebody, I'd rather be late than not show up at all. So let's see. Lord. What are we working with today? I think that's it. But for those who do not know me, I am LadyWake, and this is LadyWake Presents Deal With It. So in this platform, we deal with the cards we've been dealt in life. So I literally have a deck of cards, and we go through and we talk about the different emotions that we've experienced along our journey that are labeled here on these cards. So every Monday night at 9 p.m., usually we are here live doing this. So this is an exception. However, the party continues. We've stopped here. And it is a seven of hearts saying empty. Oh boy, empty. That is a big word. Wow. Our word for today is empty. Now, sometimes, I don't know if how many of you are like me, but empty I can also equate to numb because sometimes when I'm doing so much and taking on so much and feeling stressed and feeling unappreciated and feeling overwhelmed and on, the list grows and grows. I can get to the point where I feel numb. Like I feel like whatever, why bother? Um, there's nothing to really fight for, so to speak. And I equate that to feeling empty sometimes because, if you are not seeing the vision, if you're not seeing the reason you're doing something um, and appreciating it, if you're not seeing what you're fighting for, it can make you feel empty. It can make you feel numb. It can make you feel like there's no real point. And not so ironically, there's so much going on. There's always so much going on in the world. But there's so much right now that is in the public eye. And so people are seeing the results of our fellow brothers and sisters feeling empty via suicide and things of that sort. People are seeing it more now than ever because it's being put out there in our faces over and over again. And I think a lot of times we just underestimate how far you can go, how far a person will go or can go on this feeling. So the thing is not to make it all the way here, right? So we talk here a lot about self-care, about filling your tank, about refilling your tank when you give of yourself. We talk about self-care to the point where You should never, ever, ever feel like you're running on fumes. You should not be on E because your self care should be in order. Remember, everything I say to you, I step on my own toes first because clearly today, my stuff is not in order. I did not have it together, even though for some reason I thought I did. I was checking the boxes. So I thought I had it together. I thought I was doing stuff, checking the boxes. But at the core, because it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside, right? It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what other people see from the outside looking in. At the core of who you are, you know when you're truly doing what you need to be doing for yourself. You know when you're truly giving yourself that care that you need. You know when it's working. You know when it's not. You know when you need to switch something up. You know when you're feeling this for one reason or another, and you know you need to do something about it. So what do you do when you're feeling empty? And that's a tough thing for a lot of people to even admit. It's tough for people to admit that they ever feel empty because it's a very vulnerable place to be, right? It's super vulnerable. It makes you feel vulnerable, look vulnerable. And the worst thing that people like to feel is weak. That's like the worst thing ever, except for those emotional vampires, we call them, who thrive on the idea of weakness. But for the most part, people hate to feel weak. But the feeling of emptiness kind of makes you feel helpless too, right? Because if you've been able to get all the way there to empty, now what? Now it feels like something outside of you is affecting you and making you feel this way. It feels like maybe your feelings aren't in your control. Maybe your circumstances aren't in your control. We know they are, but sometimes it feels like they're not. Sometimes it feels like you've done all you can do. You've given everything you've got, and there's nothing left for you to do. Now what? Well, we have this discussion a lot here, but I don't know how many of you have ever seen little children repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Repetition is key to knowing. To learning, sure, but to knowing. Because when you've been taught something that doesn't line up with who you really are, you have to bring out the true knowing that is already within you. So you have to drown out the noise, the chatter, the white noise that's in the background, that's in your mind, because of what you've been taught, because of what you've experienced, because of the reality that we see every day, the reality, other people's reality that we see on TV, our reality that we experience in our individual lives. We have to drown that out with the truth, with the realization, with the knowing that we do have some control. And there's no reason to ever feel empty when you know that you are connected to eternal divine guidance. When you know that this isn't you, this is just a very small part of you here playing in this body. But to know that you are a spiritual being and you literally and figuratively have control over your existence. So this doesn't even make sense for an entity that is energy, for an entity that cannot be created or destroyed. Because energy cannot be created or destroyed. You just transfer it back and forth, here and there. You send it up, you send it down, you use it as you will. But there's no such thing as energy. There's no such thing as empty when you realize that it's all about energy. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you feel, your emotions is all about energy. So if you choose to have empty energy, no such thing. But if you choose to think that's the truth, now you're here. but when you practice in your knowing, even when you slip and mess up on your self-care, like I did today, even when you slip, you'll never get this far. You'll never get this far. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because, there's so many degrees of emotions, you know. So it's not a horrible thing to feel that way. I felt that way before plenty times in life. But it was brief, and I started inching back up the scale, feeling a little better, a little better, a little better, day by day, because the knowing is so strong. That's the key. That's the difference between people who stay in a victim mentality and live their life like that and people who move beyond it. Even if it's in spurts, even if they go back and forth, it still feels better to feel relief. It feels better to inch along closer and closer to happiness than it does to stay stuck in misery, feeling empty. You are too important, too unique, too divine to ever feel empty. You make sure that you are refilling your tank as you give of yourself. Because as we all know, if you don't, whatever's strongest will shut you down. So if your body is stronger than your mind in that moment, your body will shut you down. If your mind is stronger than your body, usually is, your mind will shut your body down. Sit down. You're sick. You need to rest. You're exhausted. Fainting. It's happened. And it's all happened to me before. So it's up to you. You make sure that you do the work so that you never get to a place of empty. And we talk about so many different experiences that can leave a person feeling empty that I don't even feel like I need to go there tonight because it's not about your experiences. And we've talked about it some and we'll talk about it some more in terms of how to detach yourself from experiences, knowing that you are not what you've been through. You are not what happened to you. You are not what they said or you are or who they think you are. You are who you choose to be. So if you're getting to empty, it's because either you are forgetting who you truly are or you're relying on somebody else to tell you who you are. And the truth is, they don't know. If they're saying anything other than perfect, they don't know. And I mean perfect when I say perfect. Everybody has a different idea of what perfect is. But whatever your idea of perfect is, that's who you are. That's it. And you get to be that person. Because it doesn't matter what decisions you make. It doesn't matter what mistakes you think you've made in life. Nothing happens by mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Every decision you make is the right decision, even when it seems wrong. Every move you make is the right move, even when it seems wrong. Even when it seems like it's landed you in the deepest ditch you've ever seen in your life with no rope to pull you or be pulled out or pull yourself out, no ladder to climb out. It's not wrong. Journey might be a little more difficult than you wanted it to be, but it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong about it. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you empty. You're powerful. Don't settle for words like this that were not created to describe you. People want to throw stuff on you like this. Oh, that person's empty inside. They're horrible. They have no soul. I guess it's a matter of opinion for some. But when there's knowing, it doesn't matter what the opinions are. It doesn't matter how horrible you've been in your eyes or anybody else's. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made. That's not acceptable. Empty is not acceptable. Take care of yourself. You're all you got. Take care of yourself. Energetically, take care of yourself. Rest when you're supposed to rest. Eat when you're supposed to eat. Drink when you're supposed to drink. By that I mean water. But hey, if you need wine, whatever. Take care of yourself. Don't put yourself on E. Because you can't blame anybody else when it happens. It's all you. It's all me. Okay? So I'm gonna get myself together. So next Monday, I'm here at 9 p.m. live onto the next card in our series of Deal With It. And we'll continue dealing with it, whatever the circumstances. Never perfect, but always authentic. So join me next Monday. Until then, y'all, peace and love.